What's up YouTube? Today we're going to be taking a look at my first fish tank. It's not my first fish tank ever, but it is the first fish tank I got since I got back into the hobby. So today we're going to be taking a look at that and the fish that I have. So right off the bat, I'd like to say that this is one of my favorite fish tanks. It is a nano tank, so it's only 14 liters, which isn't much compared to the tank on my right, which you've seen before, which is about 120 liters. And you're probably thinking, why is that, or even the pool pond downstairs, not your favorite? Because you got some really awesome fish in there. And well, yeah, fair enough, I do have awesome fish in that tank. But in this tank I probably have, some guppies? And yeah, fair enough, I do have some awesome fish. But I like the fish more than the tank. I think the tanks are quite bare and, there's not really much going on. Whereas in this tank I'm about to show you, there's a lot more going on to it. So now let's take a look at the tank and go into a bit of detail. So this is it. This is the 14-liter nano tank. Inside we have 2 Endler guppies, we have a couple of cherry shrimp, we have 2 bamboo shrimp, and we have a whole lot of plants. So if we come around this side, take a look. And we can see it's not a very big tank. We can see my lovely wildlife book at the back. But it is a very clean tank. So one of the reasons why this is one of my favorite tanks, if not my favorite tank that I own, is because of how low maintenance it is. So as you can see in the back, there is a filter and there is a heater. The heater is on, obviously, but I don't actually have the filter on anymore. I haven't had it on since August, and it is now beginning of April. Why is this? This is because I have so many plants in here, and the bioload is so small. Shrimps, their waste is nothing. And even the fish, these are very small fish. There's only 2 of them, so the overall waste that they produce is not going to be much, and I feed this tank every other day. So there isn't much waste being produced, and if there is any waste being produced, the plants pretty much absorb most of that waste. I do weekly water tests, and if there is any sort of spike, I will immediately do a water change, but usually the water quality is so good that I don't need to. So in the tank we have So for me, one of the reasons why I really do like this tank is because it is planted. From the last 2 tanks you guys have seen, there haven't been many plants. I mean, the smaller tank upstairs does have some mossballs in it, which again provides a surface for bacteria to grow, and they also help to sponge out some of those nitrates and nitrates. Also, with the downstairs tank, they have some floating dwarf water lettuce growing on it. And again, those do the same thing. And I really do think that having plants in your tank, if you can, is a really good way of helping maintain your water parameters and keeping your water clean. It's not as if that means you can immediately stop doing your water changes. You still have to do your water changes, but it just helps to act as a buffer. It's also more natural, which is better for the health of the fish and the overall ecosystem that you're trying to create for your fish. So a little bit about this tank. When I first got this tank, I set it up as a plant-only tank. It was the first tank I set up, and so that means I had to start it out from scratch. So I cycled it for about 4 weeks before getting my first plants, put them in, and they did fantastic. I'll set a picture just showing you the first few days of when I put the plants in and how they grew. So this is day number 1. You can see the plants on that tall. This is the second day, and you can see how quickly they've grown, especially the ones in the back. This is day 3, and again, they're growing very, very fast. And by the end of the week, they're all the way at the top of the tank. It's incredible. And I didn't have any plans to turn this into an aquarium of any sorts. I just thought I'd leave it as a planted tank. And I think another month went by, and all of a sudden I was just like, you know what? Let me go get some shrimp. They'll probably help with the plant growth, and then the tank will look even better. This was probably the most difficult tank I've had to look after. But yeah. So I'm not an expert when it comes to nano aquariums and nano tanks. I don't add in any CO2 anymore. I used to. I had these bottles of liquidized CO2. They came from Holland somewhere. I used to use them to help the plant growth and help the nutrition. I also had fertilizer as well before this was before there were any guppies or shrimp in there. Once the shrimp and the fish came in, I decided to stop dosing this tank CO2 or anything like that, and I just left it, and it's grown completely fine. In fact, the fact that these plants aren't growing upwards is magnificent because it just adds that extra layer of dynamic into the tank. Quick update on the gar. The gar seems to be doing a bit better, but I don't want to speak too soon. Like I said, there will be a more in-depth video about how he's doing and what he's going through at the moment. But yeah, all the fish are healthy, and as you can see, there are 1, 2, and 3 moss balls in this tank. These moss balls came from a tank downstairs that was already established, and I put them in here. I also had some driftwood, again, another clearer example of a place for bacteria to grow. And when I did start this tank out, I started it with just him. So it had already been cycling for about a week. The bacteria was in. I'd been putting in some food, flakes, something for the bacteria to munch on. But then I added him in. This is a big tank and he was quite small at that time, so I thought he wouldn't actually create a lot of waste that would impact the tank's health. So I had established media in there technically. I was using an old filter. This is an old filter that came from the tank downstairs as well, so this has already been cycled. And this lovely guy would just add and help the bacteria grow faster. Anyways, that is my nano tank and a quick look at this tank. Hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Once again, during this corona crisis, please everybody keep safe, wash your hands, do the right thing, keep the distances. Hopefully this will breeze through quickly. Stay safe and healthy. Take care, guys.